My husband suggested an open marriage because he was bored and felt stifled. I reluctantly agreed. Within a week, I had 3 dates lined up, and he had absolutely zero. He cried and asked to close the marriage. I said, "Honey, I'm just getting started. All right, grab your snacks and maybe a glass of something strong because the tea I am about to spill is piping hot." This happened over the past 3 months, and I am still processing the absolute circus my life turned into. My husband thought opening our marriage would be his ticket to a non-stop bachelor party. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out the way he planned. Here is how a decade of marriage imploded because someone got greedy and forgot that the grass isn't always greener. Sometimes it's just spray painted dirt. Let me set the stage so you understand the level of audacity we are dealing with here. I'm Vanessa, 34, and I work as a senior event coordinator for a major luxury hotel chain. My job is high stress, high reward. I spend my days putting out fires, managing bridezillas, and ensuring that CEOs have their sparkling water at exactly 42 degrees. I'm organized, I'm successful, and I bring home a paycheck that covers the mortgage and then some. My husband, well, soon to be ex-husband, is Rick, 36. He works in tech consulting. It sounds fancy, but mostly he sits on Zoom calls in his pajamas and talks about synergy. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue 10 years ago. He was charming, funny, and seemed to have his life together. We got married 2 years later. It was the fairy tale. We had the Pinterest wedding, the honeymoon in Bali, the whole 9 yards. For the first 8 years, things were solid. We were that couple everyone called goals. We bought the 4-bedroom house in the suburbs with the kitchen island I'd always wanted. We had the dog. We had the Sunday brunch routine. But looking back, I think I was the only one who was truly happy. I was content building a life. Rick apparently was just biding his time. The shift started about 6 months ago. Rick got a new project manager at work, this guy named Kyle. Kyle is 45, recently divorced, drives a leased Porsche he can't afford, and acts like he's 22. He's one of those guys who listens to podcasts about alpha mindsets and thinks monogamy is a scam invented by the government. Suddenly, Rick started coming home with all these new opinions. He'd make little comments about our life being routine. "Don't you ever feel like we're just existing, Ness?" He asked me one night over a risotto I spent 2 hours making. "I feel like we're building a future, Rick. That's what marriage is," I said, pouring wine. "Yeah, but where's the spark? Where's the adrenaline? We're in our 30s, not our 80s. I suggested we take a trip. I suggested we take salsa lessons. I suggested we go skydiving if he really needed an adrenaline hit. He shot every idea down. That's just structured fun, Vanessa. It's not real freedom. If you're already rolling your eyes, hit that like button because I haven't even gotten to the worst part yet." Then came the talk. It was a Tuesday. I had just come off a 12-hour shift managing a corporate gala. My feet were throbbing and all I wanted was a hot shower. Rick was waiting for me in the living room. The TV was off. That's never a good sign. "We need to talk," he said. He had this weird, frantic energy like he'd chugged 3 espressos. "Okay, is everything all right? Is it your mom?" I asked, dropping my bag. "No, it's us. I've been doing a lot of reading and talking to Kyle, and I think I know why I've been feeling so trapped lately." Trapped in the house we chose together with the woman who supported him when he was unemployed for 6 months 3 years ago. "Okay, I think we should open the marriage," he blurted out. I actually laughed. I thought it was a joke. "Funny, what do you want for dinner?" "I'm serious, Ness. Look, we got married young. We've only ever really been with each other. Don't you wonder what you're missing? We should be practicing ethical non-monogamy. It allows us to grow individually while staying committed." He sounded like he was reading a brochure. I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. "You want to sleep with other people," I said, my voice dead calm. "It's not just about sex. It's about connection. It's about autonomy. It's about not letting society dictate our happiness." We argued for 3 hours. He gaslit me into oblivion. He told me I was insecure, controlling, and too vanilla. He said if I really loved him, I'd want him to be fully actualized. He swore up and down there wasn't anyone specific. Lie number 1. He just needed to feel alive again. Finally, I was so exhausted and beaten down by his logic loops that I snapped. "Fine, you want to be open? Let's be open." But we set ground rules. His face lit up like a kid on Christmas. It was disgusting. He was so happy that I basically agreed to let him cheat in peace. We set the rules. 1-month trial, no friends, no coworkers, protection always, no overnights, total transparency. This is going to be so good for us, babe, he said, trying to hug me. You'll see. It'll make us appreciate each other more. I went to bed and cried myself to sleep. He stayed up late, and I saw the blue light of his phone reflecting off his glasses. He was downloading apps before my tears were even dry. The next day, the experiment began. Rick spent 2 hours curating his Tinder and Bumble profiles. He used photos I took of him. He agonizingly debated his bio. Should I put entrepreneurial spirit or tech guru? He asked me. Put husband looking for a distraction, I muttered. You need to make one too, he insisted. It's only fair. You should see what's out there. It'll be a confidence boost. I didn't want a confidence boost. I wanted my husband. But I'm not one to back down from a challenge. So, Friday night, while he was frantically swiping right on every girl within a 50-mile radius, I made a profile. I kept it simple. One nice photo of me in a cocktail dress from a work event, one of me hiking, and a bio that said, married E&M relationship, event planner, loves jazz and good wine, no drama. I put the phone down and went to take a bath. When I came back 45 minutes later, my phone was literally hot to the touch. It was buzzing so hard, it was vibrating off the nightstand. I had 99 plus likes on Tinder, 50 plus on Bumble. I opened the app and it was an avalanche. Doctors, lawyers, architects, a structural engineer, a guy who owned a vineyard. Rick looked up from his phone, frowning. Who is blowing up your phone? Just the apps, I said, scrolling. Wow, this guy is a neurosurgeon. Let me see. He snatched the phone. His eyes widened. Whatever. It's just because you're a girl. Guys swipe on everyone. It doesn't mean anything. Sure, Rick. By Sunday, the scoreboard was brutal. Rick, 2 matches. One was a bot selling crypto, and the other was a 19-year-old who unmatched him when he said he was 36. Me, 400 plus matches. 30 active conversations. I wasn't even trying to be charming. I was just being polite. But apparently, a woman in her 30s who has a career, her own money, and isn't looking for a ring is like catnip to men. The shift in the house was palpable. Rick was getting moody. He'd stomp around the kitchen, checking his phone every 30 seconds. This app must be glitching, he grumbled on Tuesday. I'm not getting any notifications. Maybe change your bio, I suggested sweetly, sipping my coffee. Maybe tech guru is too intimidating. On Wednesday, I agreed to a date. His name was Julian. He was 42, divorced, and worked in international finance. We matched because he saw I liked jazz. He messaged, I have 2 tickets to the Blue Note this Friday. I know it's forward, but I'd love a sophisticated partner in crime, I told Rick. You're going on a date? He looked shocked. That's the deal, right? Exploring our autonomy? Well, yeah, who is he? Finance guy taking me to a jazz club. Rick scoffed. Finance guy, probably boring as hell. Have fun listening to him talk about stocks. Friday night arrived. I went all out. I wore the red dress Rick usually says is too much for dinner. I did my hair. I put on the expensive perfume. When I walked into the living room, Rick was sitting on the couch in his sweatpants, eating dry cereal out of the box. He looked me up and down, and for the first time in years, I saw genuine jealousy in his eyes. You look nice, he said, his voice tight. Thanks. Don't wait up. The date? It was incredible. Julian was charming, respectful, and handsome. We didn't talk about stocks. We talked about travel, art, and books. He listened to me. He looked at me like I was the only person in the room. He knew I was married, open, and he was totally cool with it. He just wanted adult company. At the end of the night, he walked me to my Uber, kissed my hand, actually kissed my hand, and said, I haven't had a night this good in years. Please tell me I can see you again. I came home floating on air. Rick was awake. Of course he was. You're late, he snapped. It's 11:30, Rick. I'm an adult. Did you sleep with him? No, but we have a second date planned for Tuesday. Rick went silent. He stood up and walked into the bedroom, slamming the door. Make sure you're subscribed because the update I'm about to drop is going to make you scream. Week 2 was a massacre. I went out with Julian again on Tuesday. On Thursday, I had drinks with a guy named Marcus, a firefighter who looked like he was carved out of marble. Rick finally got a date for Friday night with a woman named Destiny. He spent 3 hours getting ready. He was so nervous, it was pathetic. Do I look okay? Is this shirt too tight? He left at 7 p.m. He was back at 8:15 p.m. I was on the couch reading a book. Back so soon? He threw his keys on the counter. She looked nothing like her photos, and she brought her laundry. She literally asked if we could go to a laundromat because her washer is broken. I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. Oh, honey, that's rough. It's a nightmare out there, he shouted. These women are crazy. You don't understand. I don't know, Rick. Julian took me to a 5-star tasting menu last night. Marcus is taking me hiking on Sunday. It seems pretty okay to me. That was the breaking point. He marched over to me, looking like a petulant child. I want to stop. I marked my page in my book. Stop what? The open marriage. I want to close it. It's not what I thought it would be. I miss you. I miss us. I made a mistake. I looked at him, really looked at him. I saw the man who had made me feel small for months, the man who told me I was boring, the man who was willing to risk our entire history just to sleep with some random woman because Kyle told him he was an alpha. And now that he was losing the game he rigged, he wanted to flip the board over. You want to close it? I asked. Yes, immediately. Delete the apps, cancel your dates. I stood up. No. His jaw dropped. What do you mean? No, I'm your husband. I'm telling you, I'm uncomfortable. You were perfectly comfortable when you thought you'd be the one getting all the action, Rick. You were perfectly comfortable making me feel inadequate. You forced this on me. You gave me a lecture on autonomy, remember? But I'm unhappy, he yelled, tears actually starting to well up in his eyes. And I'm not, I said. For the first time in a long time, I feel seen. I feel appreciated. Julian asks me about my day. Marcus thinks my job is fascinating. You think I'm boring? Why would I want to go back to that? So, you're choosing them over me? No, Rick, I'm choosing me over you. We agreed to a month. I'm finishing the month. He started sobbing, full on, ugly crying in the middle of our kitchen. Please, Ness, I love you. I was stupid. Don't do this. It was hard to watch, but it was also clarifying. He wasn't crying because he hurt me. He was crying because he lost. I walked out of the room. I had to get ready. Marcus was picking me up early for that hike. Update 1, 2 weeks later. The last 2 weeks of the trial were hell. Rick oscillated between begging me to stop and angry silence. He tried to love bomb me. Flowers, cleaning the house, trying to cook dinner, but it felt performative. It felt like he was trying to win me back, not because he loved me, but because he couldn't stand that someone else did. I went on 2 more dates with Julian. We slept together. It was enlightening. It made me realize how much intimacy had been lacking in my marriage for years. When the month was officially up, I sat Rick down. He looked hopeful. Okay, month's over. We can go back to normal now, right? Rick, I said, I don't think I can go back. What? Why? The experiment is over. The experiment showed me that our marriage was broken long before we opened it. You didn't want me, Rick. You wanted a safety net while you went out to play. And now that you realize you aren't the catch you thought you were, you want your safety net back. I'm not a safety net. I'm a wife. He panicked. He offered therapy. He offered to quit his job. He blamed Kyle. Shocker. I told him I needed space. I moved into the guest room. Update 2, the legal action. That was a month ago. Last week, I filed for divorce. When I handed him the papers, he didn't even fight. He just looked defeated. He's currently staying on Kyle's couch, which I find poetic justice. Apparently, living with an alpha male in a 1-bedroom apartment isn't as glamorous as the podcast made it sound. Kyle, by the way, hit on me when I went to drop off Rick's mail. He told me, if you're ever looking for a real man, you know where to find me. I laughed in his face so hard I almost choked. Rick is miserable. He calls me drunk sometimes, leaving voicemails about how he ruined the best thing he ever had. He's right. He did. Final update, the resolution. I'm still seeing Julian casually. It's not serious, but it's fun. He respects me, and he treats me like a queen. More importantly, I'm learning to be happy on my own. The house is going on the market next week. I'm looking for a condo in the city, closer to work. I got a promotion last week, too. As for Rick, I heard from a mutual friend that he's back on the apps. His bio now says, not looking for games, prioritizing loyalty. The irony is thick enough to choke on. He wanted to explore. He wanted to see what was out there. Well, he found out. He found out that the dating pool is a swamp, and he threw away the lifeboat he had to go swim in sewage. So here is my question for you guys. Am I the jerk for not closing the marriage the second he started crying? Or did he deserve to sit in the mess he created for the full 30 days? Let me know in the comments. And seriously, ladies, if your husband says he's bored, Buy him a PlayStation. Do not open your marriage unless you are ready to find out exactly what your relationship is worth. Thanks for watching.